Hey everyone, it's another week and another edition of Hashtag Trending with me, Ali Reza. Here are the stories that we'll be looking into today for the next 10 minutes or so. So I hope you're ready to jump into the first story because I am. Let's begin. Unless you're living on a different planet, you've heard the news about the COVID-19 vaccination campaigns which have already started rolling out in some parts of the world. Now hear this. Iran is producing its own vaccines, which is in its final stages of testing, and before long, it'll start rolling out. All right, time to check out our social media feed for some reactions to this story. We're going to start from a comment on YouTube by the Everything channel. They write, USA bullying is actually making Iran stronger and more developed because they can't import a lot of things, they have to produce them locally, which promotes domestic industry. In short run, it hurts Iran, but in the longer, sanctions actually help Iran. All right, it's technically Iran who's not buying the vaccines and not the other way around. And just FYI, Iran's leader has prohibited the import of UK and US-made vaccines. All right, on to the next one by Sami Mohaddis. They write, as a Persian Iranian who grew up in Germany and living in Germany for 32 years, I don't trust or accept the vaccine of BioNTech. But I would use the Iranian vaccine any day without any doubts. All right, and that's some quality patriotism right there. On to our next comment, which is on Twitter. Zainab Muzaffar writes, very good news, mashallah, but trials on only 500 people is too little. It should be at least 40,000 for reliability and confirmation of efficacy rate. I'll be sure to pass on your comments on to the authorities. I mean, I probably can't because they don't know me, but it was just a gesture, right? The next comment on YouTube by Sayyid Musa Kazem, they write, love and support to the Persian brothers in faith and humanity from a Shia Muslim of India. Never feel alone, dear Iranians. You have nearly 12 million loyal friends from subcontinent. You remember parkour, the urban sport that received international recognition all the way back in the early 2000s? Well, believe it or not, this is still a thing in the occupied Palestinian territories. See, Palestinian youth take to parkour as a means of overcoming their obstacles, both physical and mental, and the activity has also become almost a symbol of resistance against Israeli crimes. Just check out how Mohammed Aliwa overcomes his disabilities incurred by the Israeli forces through parkour. Donald Trump's days as the US president are numbered, but it doesn't mean that he's going to let go of all of that easily. In fact, just a couple of days after his supporters stormed the Capitol building, there is news of a much larger showdown being planned right before Joe Biden's inauguration day. So the FBI has mentioned to all of these states, all 50 of them, that they should brace themselves from the January 16th all the way until at least the 20th.
Donald Trump's not going to take me to heaven. Donald Trump can't save me from hell. Only Jesus can save me from hell and deliver me from the flames of destruction.
Well, things seem to be getting out of control very quickly for Trump and his supporters, but something tells me we'll be talking about the story more in the next week too. Just a hunch. All right, let's hit Twitter. Atlantide writes, Washington state troopers and the National Guard arrived on the Capitol campus in Olympia to set up security ahead of the start of the legislative session. All right, let's have a look. They're going to need a lot more troops this time, so bring more, a lot more. Now this next tweet by Dorota Malika, she writes, military presence in Washington 10 days before the new president's inauguration day and rumors of an alleged armed revolt. Let's have a look at this one. See, last week was just a test run. This week they're going to come at you hard. This next tweet by Suzanne Lynch reads, 2 Capitol police officers have been suspended and at least 10 under investigation for alleged complicity with Trump rioters. One was pictured taking a selfie with rioters during Capitol riots. So this tweet brings a question in my mind. Is that, did the rioters and the police take the selfie before, after, or during the riots as they were happening? It really is a question for me. This next tweet by Barbara Santana reads, FBI warns of armed protests at all 50 state capitals and Washington ahead of inauguration. See, this is the kind of armed forces I'm talking about. Bring them out. This next tweet by First India reads, Twitter announced that more than 70,000 accounts have been suspended following the riots in Washington, D.C., stating that these accounts were engaged in sharing harmful QAnon-associated content. So I'm guessing after these speculated riots, Twitter has to suspend another 2 million accounts. Now this last tweet by Sarah Marville, she writes, taxpayers will pay for damages because federal agencies rarely carry insurance. Industry and policy sources said. Nothing comes for free. That's just the bitter reality of today's profit-oriented world. So it should come as no surprise to anyone that the free messaging service WhatsApp is using your personal data, it's harvesting your personal data and using it for ad targeting purposes. So just to clarify, WhatsApp has been using your personal data and sharing it with its parent company, Facebook, since 2016, and it has only just told you about it. You know, Facebook, the company that doesn't have the best track record when it comes to keeping your private data secure. That company. All right, so this first tweet by Daily Mail Online writes, millions of WhatsApp users abandon app and switch to rivals Telegram or Signal ahead of privacy policy update. So just next time, make sure you read their terms of service from cover to cover. This next tweet by Quds News Network writes, users continued to leave WhatsApp and drove over the application's new terms of service, increasing users in Telegram and Signal. So just so you know, these two apps are also free messaging apps. Now on to the last one by WhatsApp themselves. They write, we want to address some rumors and be 100% clear. We continue to protect your private messages with end-to-end encryption. And I mean, judging by the picture, they're definitely in damage control mode right now, but we don't exactly know who to trust right now. So I'm going to leave the judgment up to you, because we've definitely been getting some mixed messages from WhatsApp with tweets like this, and then some of the changes in their privacy policies that we see online and by other users who are claiming that they're a little bit fishy. So I'll leave the judgment up to you. And that's been it for this week's edition of #Trending. I really hope you liked what you saw. If you did, make sure to give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Until next week and another edition, take care and bye-bye.